Well, my partner and I were children of the 60s. We grew up questioning authority, as one did in those days. I, in my case, was the son and grandson of shoe manufacturers, so there's a lot of pollution in my background. And I grew up knowing that there need to be alternatives to having rivers catch on fire or having our topsoil, our air, our water being polluted. Both my partner and I were running environmental nonprofits back in the early 80s. And we really had to come up with a means of supporting our organic farming schools, our institutes. And so we used to sit at the kitchen table eating his delicious yogurt, trying to figure our way out of these financial problems. And one of us one day said, look, why don't we try to sell the yogurt to keep the school going and become independent of grant dependency? And Stonyfield really began that way. I mean, today it's a $320 million company. We support 1,400 organic farms across the country, but our core belief was that business has to be at the heart of the solutions to our global environmental, climate, and toxins crises. That if business doesn't address these problems, if business doesn't make the solutions our priority, they're not going to happen. And so for us, Stonyfield was really the meshing of nonprofit, educational, advocacy, research objectives with commercial objectives to try to see if we could engage millions and millions of consumers in a process of creating the kind of economy that will actually have a planet that our children can live on. In 1984, I'd been trying to break into a big natural foods chain, now known as Whole Foods, for about a year. And they already had a half a dozen organic yogurts for sale, that they didn't need a seventh one. So a bunch of friends came from the Boston area to a birthday party of mine, and I blew out the candles, and they asked me to give a speech, and I said, it's wonderful you're all here, but if you really want to give me a great birthday present, go down to Bread and Circus, the Whole Foods antecedent, and ask for our yogurt. That was on a Sunday. On Wednesday, the buyer called from Bread and Circus and said, Gary, I don't know what's going on, but demand has gone through the roof. Get it in there tomorrow. And I did. I delivered actually that day. It taught me back then in 1984, as I have learned every year ever since, that we individuals have immense power to change what is sold in the marketplace. When you fill out those little suggestion cards, when you ask the dairy buyer or the grocery buyer to stock this or that product, they do that. Why? Because they're in business to please you. It was easy to partner with Adrian and Peter because we have the exact same outlook about the building blocks that are going to be necessary to build a more sustainable culture, and that is helping individuals to learn what their options are, presenting them with real bona fide options so that today I can change from this product to that one like that. And you know, when people are feeling desperate and uncomfortable and even depressed about the state of our world, whether it's climate change or toxins, I always remind them that, you know, we got into this mess through a whole bunch of little steps, little unconscious steps where we weren't really seeing the externalities, we weren't seeing the impacts of our decisions. And that's how we're going to get out of it. You know, we're not in a dead end, we're in a cul-de-sac, and we can come back out of it, as these guys are trying to show, by just making small and simple choices. My key message is that we all have the power to change the world. That business can make more money this way, but we as consumers can help business to get there by shifting our consumer preferences. When we buy green, businesses go there. If we don't, they won't. It's very simple. 26 years in commerce has taught me very simply that we individuals are not at the bottom of the pyramid, we're at the top of the pyramid. It's all built around us. How we buy, how we consume, how we shop makes all the difference in the world.